Hey there guys, so today is September 7th. We are doing some fall spraying, which means we are trying to control weeds for next year. So the crop is off. Now we've had like what, 4 inches of rain or something like that. So we're getting lots of new growth, plus we still have old growth from that started in like August, or even some of them July, that's not dead. So we want to go out there and we want to kill that. We don't want them to set any seed. We already know that one kosher seed can lay a ridiculous amount of weed seeds. So we're rocking the dash trailer here. I'm definitely happy with it. It got 2 totes up there, 4 totes up there. I could still put some totes in here if I wanted to, and I got my distinct and merge, is the surfactant you got to use with it, in the cage. And I've got a lot of water on reserve right there. I also have totes here. Mike, why do you have totes down here and you're not sucking off of there? It's a really good question. Maybe you haven't got to that point, that question yet, but I'm just gonna fill you in right now. Because I'm only gonna be here loading with the sprayer for probably 1, maybe 2 loads at most. And then we're gonna move the whole system to a different field, okay? A little farther away. So why do I wanna suck off my inventory? That one there is already sucked down a little bit, but the rest of them are all full. Why do I wanna suck off my inventory? Just to have to put new inventory back on and strap them all down. This is where all the inventory is at the main farm here, so this is where we're gonna just pull off our inventory and just use there. That's the reason why. Okay. Now I just want to talk about glyphosate here real quick. In these totes, this is glyphosate. Mike, what is glyphosate? Well, glyphosate is a group 9. It's a chemical, also commonly known as Roundup. But you can't call it Roundup. Roundup is a trade name from a manufacturer, formerly Monsanto, now Bayer. It's just a trade name for glyphosate, okay? There's lots of different companies out there that make glyphosate and they put their own name on it. This one here happens to be called Startup. You can always identify whether it's glyphosate by the group. There's only one group 9, and group 9 consists of glyphosate, okay? Group 9, always glyphosate. This one is made by Nutrien, called Startup, okay? Co-op makes it. Just about every chemical company makes glyphosate, and they just call it something different. But a lot of farmers will still call it Roundup, even though it's not Roundup. It's just like you saying, hey, can you pass the Kleenex box? Even though that box of tissues that you're gonna wipe your nose with is actually bought from the local co-op, and it doesn't say Kleenex across it. Why? Because Kleenex is the trade name. That's the company name that developed that. But yet we still call it Kleenex, just like farmers will still call it Roundup, though it's not Roundup. Got it? Got it. It's just a trade name. That's all it is. It's not overcomplicated. Now, when we're talking about glyphosate comes in 3 different grams, and that's how it's identified. So 360, 360 grams, 480, and 540. And this really bugs the crap out of me, because a lot of different farmers, well, you know, you're talking to them, you ask them what they're spraying, they're like, yeah, I'm spraying about 1 liter equivalent, or I'm spraying 1.4 liters equivalent, or I'm spraying 2 liters equivalent. And I'm like, what the heck? So when they say equivalent, they're basing it off the old 360, okay? When glyphosate first came out, I just about said Roundup there. When glyphosate first came out at 360 grams. Okay, that's just what it was. You put on a liter of 360 grams, it's 360 grams per acre. Got it? Got it. Okay. Well, so a lot of farmers will still talk about it. So basically, all the 480 and 540, it's just a heavier concentration, okay? Which allows you to use less of the product, which is pretty handy when you're using a lot of it. So, right here, spray rate. To spray this rate of Roundup equivalent. See, they're even saying equivalent. It drives me freaking crazy, okay? So, based on a 360 gram, you can spray this at a half a liter, and this Startup, you only actually have to put it on a 0.33. You want to want 1 liter an acre, 360. Remember, this is the 360 column, hence the equivalent. That's when it first come out. That's what everyone talks about. Everyone typically sprays on 360. Drives Mike freaking crazy. You would put this particular 540 gram on at 0.67. And don't ask me why they say spray 80 acres, use this. It's like they think that we have 80 acre fields. No, we're rocking a little bit bigger than that. So then they tell you how much this will treat if you want to blah, 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 blah. You don't even need these. Don't even pay any attention to these. To be honest, you don't even pay any attention to any of this, okay? when talking glyphosate, talk in grams, all right? Talk in grams. Just makes the life a whole lot easier. What are you spraying? 360 grams. Okay, that's fair. That tells me he's spraying 360 grams. What are you spraying? I'm spraying 500 grams. What are you spraying? I'm spraying 875 grams. What are you spraying? I'm spraying 1,000 grams. Just talking grams. Then we don't have to be like, well, when you say you're talking 1 liter, is that 1 liter of 360? Is that 1 liter of 480? Is that 1 liter of 540? Because that's a whole lot of different varieties, right? So just talking grams, it's way simpler because there's only 1 gram. Got it? Okay, so we're actually rocking 1,080 grams. Now, of that makes it work. Actually works out to about 2 liters an acre. Excuse me. 2 liters an acre. That's what we're spraying, plus our distinct. That's a pretty big packing punch, all right? That's a pretty big packing punch. Now that we've talked about that, let's hook this thing up. And I'm actually gonna bring up one more tote over here because obviously I'm spraying 320 acre loads. So I need around 600 and change, okay? All right, I just pulled up my other tote here because I need about 640 liters of this for my 320 acre load. Well, Mike, I got a couple questions here for you. So you say that Roundup is a trade name. That's true. So just about every chemical company and their brother and sister make glyphosate. Yes, that's also true. And they just put their own different name on it and run with it. Yes, that's different. That's true. The 360, 480, 540, those are just the concentration, if you will. That's also true. Well, with saying all that then, why is there like one glyphosate that's kind of better than the other because you got all these different companies making it? Well, you know, that's actually a really good question. You know what? It doesn't matter who you ask, they're gonna all have their opinion on it, to be quite honest with you, and that's okay. But I would say yes and no. It's kind of a muddy water situation. This is all generic. So basically this particular stuff is a generic chemical. Means that, okay, remember Monsanto, they were the first to come out with it. They're no more. They're bought by Bayer. They called it Roundup. They put like an X-year patent on it. Nobody could make it. And then the patent ran out and then everybody and their dog started making glyphosate, okay? Everyone throws in some different salts, okay? And a few little different things. It's still a group 9. They say that theirs works a little better, a little faster. Some say, well, you know, it has a rain fast of 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Some generics are like, well, we need 3 hours. You know, it's just, yeah, that's you're like splitting hairs here. Is Ford better than Chevy? Chevy better than Ford? That's kind of where we're going here when you're in the generic world. Well, Mike, I don't understand this whole generic thing. Can you please explain that a little bit more? Yeah, so basically, like, a generic is anything other than like a major chemical company like Bayer, BASF. This could be a gray area here. Don't quote me on this. But so like Roundup or Roundup Transorb, Roundup WeatherMax, that used to be Monsanto. It is no more. It is now Bayer. They dye it a cool looking blue color. Transorb, I think they say it's like a 1 hour rain fast. WeatherMax, I think they'll say that it's like a 30-minute weather fast. I don't know what they're doing. I think a lot of it just does come down to advertising, and you'll pay a premium for that glyphosate. Sorry about that. I just had to take a phone call. But yeah, so typically if you buy it from one of the major chemical companies, you'll pay a premium for it, just like you would if you got some parts for Ford or your Chevy or whatnot. And they typically warranty it, I should say. I should probably mention they typically warranty it, but that warranty, I don't know. I guess for some people, they probably got paid out. It works about as good as I can throw it sometimes, to be quite honest with you. You know, so if you can save $1 a liter, in my opinion, you're probably best to just go with a generic, get it cheaper. Generic is not warranted, but for how often you ever warranty Roundup, glyphosate. See, ask farmers, we just call it Roundup, even though it's just a trade name. Just like you used to call it Kleenex box. Yeah, I don't know about the warranty thing. But anyways, we gotta get the freak going here. So, we got our dash. We got our Roundup pump plumbed right in. Yes, the dash does have its own air pump, hence these hoses. It's run underneath the trailer. You can pop this puppy on those totes. I have not been using the air pump, to be quite honest. I just use my own 2-inch Honda pump, and it takes about 2.5 of these bad boys. And then over here we got our blender, and I'll show you how to work all this stuff once we get rocking. I should note that this arm will swing out, but I keep it locked in because why swing it out if you don't have to? Just hook up the hose and you're ready to rock and roll. So obviously you have to have air, hence we have an air compressor on board. But, what was I gonna say here? Derek with Dash, he actually gave us a great big air tank for storage air. So, you know, our air compressor can either fill the air tank, or your semi, which has air on it, can fill the air tank, and that air tank will last you probably a couple loads. But we haven't got around to hanging that air tank in here, so we're just gonna use the portable and fire us up, okay? Of course, this is water. I am running it through the cam handler pump for another pump if I need to, but right now there's enough bulkhead pressure because it's pretty full. I don't have to pump it. What's one of the rules that Mike always says about spraying? Put your boxes out, count them, have them out before you start opening, because otherwise if you do one at a time, you'll start throwing them and then put your jugs in the bag, and you'll do a classic Mike and you'll forget count, and you won't remember how much you put. You won't remember how much you put in the tank. All right, so we're gonna put in 5.5 cases. This is our other half case over here. And in each box they give you 2 of these for measuring, probably 1 per jug. I don't know. This is the biggest waste I've seen of chemical companies, because I don't know who uses all these. I never use these things, never. I put in lots of jugs. Why am I trying to measure this out in detail? It should be over here, right? And even if you did, why don't you just put 1? Why 2? Oh, because I used this one, which is just a dry granular. I got to get my new one now. No, what ridiculous. Tell me a farmer that doesn't keep some of these around, because 2 come per box. Anyways, rant over. So every load, I would just recommend you could take these things home, use them for a Slurpee, you know, maybe a float, an ice cream float, throw some ice cream in there, some soda pop. It just goes into the recycling, just like that. Just recycling. Never ever use them. Anyways, let's fire up our pump. Give her a little RPM, a little bit of a choke. There it goes. We're gonna start filling with some water. Okay. So, when you're mixing a granular, which is what this is, you wanna put like 25-30% of your capacity of your tank of fresh water. Then you mix all this up in a slurry. Then you send her into your sprayer, and you let your sprayer agitate that for like 5-10 minutes or so. If you slurry it before it goes to your sprayer, you don't have to wait as long. If you won't slurry it, if you're just gonna dump it right in your sprayer and make your sprayer do all the agitation, you're gonna wait like maybe a half an hour to do it properly. Otherwise, go plug your filters. I don't plug my filters because I slurry it and I give it lots of time. For every one of these, you gotta take the lid off. Probably should wear some gloves, but it is just a granular. Okay, basically like chocolate milk. Oh, I should probably start agitating, which means water is coming in. This here is your blender. Woo! Yeah, look at that. And you just dump this right in there. Oh yeah, it's like a big blender in there, man. Tuck that in the recycling. Okay, I gotta put you guys down so I can do this a little quicker. You guys good? Okay. Once you start pumping water into the sprayer, it's going in at 3-inch hose. It doesn't take long. You gotta really go fast or you'll fill your sprayer up before you can get all your chemical in. We gotta get a lot of Roundup in there yet. Okay. want them to, but let's be honest, I like them. I like the run. This is merge. It's a surfactant we gotta put in. Rinse these. I don't even take the tin foil off. Just punch it down, plug it in. Then we'll rinse them. Gotta put 2 more of those in. And I gotta get this granular into that sprayer ASAP. And we'll start working on our Roundup. Get my gloves. This here is fresh water. Here's our blender. Oh, we need a little more pressure here. Hold on. Gotta shut some of this water off. There we go. It's gonna pressure us up a little more. Rinse these ones off. Yeah, these are rinsing now. Okay, good enough. Let's start sucking this stuff out. So that's yellow. I go by, you can go by DASH dash. I like to go the colors. So everything but H. Everything but H. Go halfway down and it starts to suck it out. Fresh water. That's all the pressure we got. What the heck's going on? Hold on. I just checked the sprayer. We're half full. Just about in. These are all in. We're just waiting for that. Actually, we can start filling Roundup. I got this on right here. We're just gonna go sit right around here. And then we gotta clean up the rest of our jugs, put them in the bag. I can't even hear this one's running. Oh, there it is. There it is. I need one more step right there. Sucking down that tote right there. There it is, about down. We're right about here on the line. We're going to take it up to 240, pump it in, 240, pump it in, and 160. Done yet? Not quite. Get ready to shut this valve off. There we go. It's ready to go in. I was wondering why this wasn't going down fast enough. It's because I didn't have the valve all the way open. Just suck it out. That would help. Oh, see how we got a little buildup right there? You take your wand. Normally we have more pressure than that too. Just saying. There we go. Okay, let's close this one off. Sorry about that, I gotta change this. There we go. Let's take the H. H is going in, Roundup's going in. Mike, you didn't get that very many minutes. It was just the last little bit. Trust me, I won't have a problem. If I thought I'd have a problem, I wouldn't do it. Roundup or glyphosate is foamy. You can use some defoamer if you want. I think it's, I don't use it, I don't need to. All right, this is done. This one's done. This one's done. It's our level right here. Right here. Close it up, open up my valve again. And that tote is basically empty. I'm gonna need my gloves, so I'll quickly switch that hose to this one. Still pumping, still pumping, still pumping. Nope. No, that's about it. Sometimes I like to tip on the tote just a little bit to try and make sure I drain it all out. I'm gonna go and do that stuff. Alright, we're pumping again. Also gotta be watching your sprayer that we're almost full, so it's important that we get the rest of our Roundup in here. When you're done, you shut off your Honda pump. Start rinsing it. Now we just wait. And just like that, voila, we're full. Pumps off, air compressor's off. One tote is empty. I guess I'll have to replace that next load. Boxes are cleaned up. Empty boxes go over there for now. All plastic jugs go in a bag till the bag's full. Type it up, set it aside, grab a new roll bag, and all the bags get shipped back to Swift Current for recycling. Okay, let's get cracking. All right, and away we go. We're not going very far. Normally, I'm always saying, hey, we got about a 70-mile move here or 100-mile move there, but we're actually only going to go about 2 miles, so not very far. All right. These trees were all planted. I know you're like, holy crap, Mike, you got trees. They were all planted. Tell me we have one stuck poppet, and yeah, if I normally go about a quarter mile, it frees itself up, or I guess I could just stop and get out, but it's a little bit of a sticky sucker. I have cleaned them before. I just need to replace them. That's what I need to do. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about what we're spraying here. Kind of hard to tell. So we're spraying this kochia weed. Remember, when you don't have a crop, it doesn't run any competition for the weeds. So we have a few fields that have some kochia weed like this. You can kind of see it around. Little green gaffers, right? Well, since we had the drought, those weeds are incredibly hardy. All right, like 1 liter, they would laugh at 1 liter. Or when I say liter, I'm talking 540 grams. They laugh at 540 grams. So we're hitting them with over 1,000 grams, okay? We want to knock these things down so they don't set seed. We got a little bit of volunteer lentils. They die really easily. They just look at chemical and they die. Remember that distinct, I guess I probably should have told you what the actives are in distinct. Now I can't remember. One of them's dicamba though. I know that one. And the other one's I think is a group 15, and I can't remember. Dicamba's I think dicamba's a 4, group 4. It's either a group 4 or group 2. I get them confused sometimes. So there's not a lot of weeds around here, but we're also aiming for Canada thistle, which there is none right here. But and hawk spirit, which there is none right here. So I guess I would just keep spraying. Can't remember what's the other active and distinct right now, without going back and looking at the box. All right, so I ran that tank out and came back to load. Look how more organized I am this time. I got all the boxes out. I want to see the boxes, that way I don't lose count. All my jugs are out here for my distinct. Remember I was talking about the distinct, I knew it had dicamba in it. And dicamba is either a 2 or 4, I can never remember. And it says right here, it's a 4. So that's your dicamba. And then I thought it was a 15, group 15, but it's actually a 19. I'll switch it around to the English side here. And so right here, you got your dicamba. So you guys can see that all right. And then you got your group 19, which is this one. Yeah, and dicamba. So that's what we're using. And then I had to go get some more glyphosate. This time we're switching to Credit Extreme. This stuff is made by New Farm. This stuff is made by, that's Co-op. And that stuff is from Nutrien. So these are all generic glyphosates. And is it okay to mix them? Well, they'll say no. I haven't had any issues. Everyone uses, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people, some companies use a little different salts, as we've already gone through and explained. But I haven't had any issues. I'm putting on so much of it that, yeah, I'm not having any issues. Anyways, I gotta get loading. We're gonna turn our fancy dancy blender on here, that thing, and I'm gonna let you guys go. This is probably gonna be my last load here, and then we're gonna pack up this dash, because I'm only 2 miles away currently, right? So, and then we're gonna pack up and we're gonna go about 10 miles. So, you guys have yourself a good one. Thanks for following me around. I hope that we learned something with the distinct and the Roundup. So this is a fall application, and we hope that we can get away with one fall application and we don't have to go out in October just before freeze up and hit it again. You definitely wouldn't want to double up on your distinct, because distinct has carryover. All right, so I think you got to have it on by 1st of September for flax, some other crops, and then 1st of October for your canolas, your lentils, your chickpeas, maybe field peas is also 1st of September. Anyways, and then you can go into middle of October-ish, give or take. There's a pamphlet. BASF sends out a pamphlet, so that way you can check your crop, check your date. What happens if you spray it past that point? Well, then you're going into a gray area, and let's be honest, the company keeps themselves on a very conservative ground. Like, they don't want to have to pay out if there's any issues, right? So if they say mid-October, realistically, you could go to the end of October without having issues. But if you go into November or some crazy thing like that, you're just going to burn next year's crop, okay? So cereals is for like middle of October, you know, you can go into October. That's your wheat, your durum, your barleys, and stuff like that, okay? If you try and grow lentils on something like that, you're just going to hurt your lentils. It's going to burn it, it's going to singe it, you're going to see that chemical burn, kind of like this year, except it wasn't a distinct issue, it was an Odyssey issue. But anyways, yeah, so you always want to make sure you kind of know what you're going to seed. Check to see if there's any carryovers, because lots of different chemicals have carryover. Roundup has zero, has none. You spray it on, good to go, you're good to go, okay? That's why a lot of people like to use Roundup, because they don't want to have to try and figure out what they're going to seed when it's still September 7th, okay? But we have a pretty good idea now, so we're going to put this on. And why are we using it? Is just because it does a way better job for the chemical. For the weeds, sorry. I just had a text message come through. It completely distracted me. Squirrel! Oh yeah, I'm back. I forgot to explain why you want to load your Roundup last and your granulars always first. That is because your granulars need pH to mix it up and dissolve it. As soon as you put the Roundup in there, it's going to lower your pH, which then in return will keep your granular from mixing up properly and dissolving properly. So that's the reason why. So alright, yeah, that's the reason why we do that. Anyway, we are out of here. It's kind of congested. They are hooking up all the trailers to the combines. We got one last 70-mile move to some of our further stuff, and we are done combining after that. Well, maybe some tinkering. I still got stuff up north, but we're like 90% done or something like that. All right, guys, you guys have yourself a good one. We're going spraying.